Not bad.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to No Life Digital Podcast and Video Show. Coming at you on a lovely Tuesday. So, we are not doing dual shows this week. We're going to put all of it in one show, the gaming and the tech portion in one show, as we used to do, mainly because we don't have a crazy amount of news, even though I feel like looking at the news, we might go as long as we normally do, which would be good for you. But we're going to try to consolidate it into one show today. So expect that. I think we're going to start with the gaming portion that way, because there's not too much news in gaming, which is why we wanted to do this. So, let's begin. What's up, boys?
Yep.
So,
Do not a whole lot.
Yo.
Just a river. That's pretty much it.
stop, Mark. You guys been playing anything new?
Today, yes. Today I've been just going ham on City Skylines because they had a new DLC released today, which this is one of those times where I understand your guys' opinions more on liking DLC, and I mean that as in like this game's 3 years old and they're still putting out a DLC like every 5 months.
Yeah.
And like that's when I love it. You know what I mean? It's like you have enough time to go through it all, forget about it, and then be like, oh yeah, here's another $15 for like something amazing.
Could you imagine playing that on the Switch?
No. Vanilla, yes. And like I would still totally play vanilla. Like,
Why is it supposed to come out on Switch?
City Skylines is, yeah.
It's on the Switch already.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
really?
already on. But I don't know if all the DLC's out for it.
I don't know.
Because the DLC eventually does start adding a lot. Because at this point, God, this is like what, 6 or 7, and like if you do have all of them, it's a memory hog. Like there's no way around it. It's just a memory hog because now it started out with as already a really in-depth game for a city builder, and now you've added on 7 more super in-depth systems on top of it. Yeah. But this is Industries, which completely revamped a lot of the way the Industries did. Like the last DLC did was all about parks, because the vanilla game, when it launched, it was a great city builder and way better than SimCity, all those things. But like it just had like generic tiles. Like, oh, you want to put a park? Well, they have 20 different parks, but that's all you could do. So Park Life was, oh, well, now you can just paint an area on the map and here's a bunch of assets and you can make your park, like and decorate it however you want and like get money from it. The Industry was always the same way. You always had Industry to generate money, but it was just like zone out an area. There it is. Have fun. With this, it's, well, now you can paint an area and you can say like, okay, this is a farming area. And here's like a whole detailed system of, okay, you start with like a basic farm, and then you only have like you have a farmhouse, and you can have a small field and like a silo. And like that's all you start out with. And it keeps leveling up to the point that you have like, you can start specializing these massive farms that have tons of fields. Or
That's rare, though. There's not a lot of DLC that goes that crazy.
no, like that's why I love it for when it's like this case, because like it's an entire system where it's like, okay, even going into that, and there's like 4 or 5 different major systems with that. But it's like, okay, so taking this farm example, you start making fields, they'll make crops, and you can sell those. But that starts leveling up your farm, so you can also then start making like flour mills, and you like everything has a generator, and then there's a builder system, so you have to have enough that you're making that you can actually start taking the raw materials and turning it into a product that you can sell to your town and then also export.
Yeah.
And like there's a whole like another game in that basically, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all really easy, but it's like it's fun, and it's always cool because every DLC they add is like they're really trying to make a real city.
So, Switch version does come with 2 DLC packs. It comes with After Dark and Snowfall.
Okay, yeah, those are the first two. That's kind of what I figured.
Was it like
Those,
story DLC?
There's nothing saying.
no, there's no story. There's no story at all in this game. It's entirely sandbox mode.
Yeah, it's just a sim. It's a sim game.
It's just SimCity sandbox mode basically on crack. Both of those, that's kind of what I expect, and I think that's all that you would get. Those were basically glorified map packs. Nightlife is like an extra four maps, but it's all set at night, and adds like a little bit of like you can build a nightclub, stuff like that. And then the other one's just for like winter maps, and it adds like a couple of systems, but not a whole lot for each one. So like this, like the snow maps, like, oh yeah, now you can build snow parks with snowmen, and you gotta shovel the fucking roads. Congrats.
So it's just a little bit stuff. I've never played it.
Yeah.
It looks pretty interesting. I'm probably not gonna get. That's definitely a PC game. I think Switch just doesn't sound right for a sim city builder. It's weird.
I mean, like for just going and having a little bit of fun, I think it can kind of work. But if you like were to ever get like super into the game, like I can get sometimes, yeah, no, you want like a 34-inch monitor in front of you because you're like gonna try to be a city planner.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna try to recreate the best thing you can, and the biggest thing for all of that is mods too.
Right. Well, you played the RimWorld release that just, I think, was it 1.0 now?
Yeah, a little bit, because that also just happened yesterday, and I got a little bit of time in that, but it was like between work and everything, I was like, no, I want to play Cities a little bit more, because Cities has a lot more new stuff than RimWorld's release, because RimWorld just came out of beta 19, which about a month or two ago, and that was originally going to be 1.0 release, and then it was a lot of mostly bug fixes and adding like a couple of more systems, but it was mostly bug fixes between beta 19 and the full release, which I give him credit for. He actually made sure to fix everything before, saying, cool, here's the game. But RimWorld's still great. There's still a lot of cool stuff that they've added to that game over time too, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one I want to check out. I'm more interested in that one than Cities, to be honest.
No, that's fair. Both of them are great. RimWorld's a lot of fun for like that Dwarf Fortress type management, where you're more managing a small team and trying to build like you're trying to build the community in the home base, you know what I mean, and survive, versus
just city.
I'm going to try to build a city that actually has 1 million people in it and watch my computer suffer.
And then you have Tropico 6 beta. What is that, like a civilization type of game?
No, still city management, because that's what got me into all of this. Was Tropico 6 got announced for early next year, and the beta started going out to people, and then that totally got me back onto all of my stupid management games. And Tropico is a good series. It's more like SimCity than it is like City Skylines. It's a lot more simplified. But with Tropico, there's always a huge campaign, and it's got a ton of flavor. Like Tropico 4, I still think was the best, but I mean, basically, like it actually has a story with it. All of the all of the maps are small islands, because you're El Presidente, who's been
that
put
translates
into
roughly
power
to the president, if you didn't know, by the way.
Right. But you're basically, the whole idea is a ripoff of like you're rebuilding Cuba. Like you just founded Cuba in like the 20s, and you're rising to power, and you can do whatever you want. You want to try to make it a good city, but like there's politics management. Yeah, like there's politics management in it. You can piss off the US or the USSR, or like little factions that exist on your island. You can just there's elections, but you can choose to not have them because you can kind of ban them if you have a big enough military, things like that. Or like
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Someone can start running against you, but you can actually make a secret police and just kind of kill them on the street.
That's awesome.
Like just shit like that. And all of them have always had a ton of humor in them. Where like for like 4, there was a shopping mall, but you could set the shopping mall to a mode that only women were allowed, and it's all shoe sales. So sales increased by 20%, and men are only allowed to come in as punishment. Like it's got a lot of just like goofy little humor to it. So I'm definitely excited for that too. Even though like the actual gameplay of it is it's a bit simpler mechanics wise. There's not nearly as much going on.
But that seems like it would be a little bit more something that would like attract me, who doesn't really want to get too deep into like the economics of your, road planning.
No, and for all of that, it's great. Like you can't even really road plan. The tools aren't made for that. It's more for trying to manage the people in it,
right,
as well as the city, rather than just the city. Because like I think it'd be better
like
for you
both, though. I did really enjoy like the roller coaster tycoon stuff.
Yeah.
And the older Sim Cities. I don't remember the last Sim City I played, but it wasn't that long ago. I did enjoy it.
I think you might like that a little bit more because it definitely, they always have like a 20 mission campaign. Okay. And like honestly, like each one of those, like the first couple of missions will take you a couple hours, but like towards the end, like some of those missions would take me like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
To like beat one of those missions. So there was a lot of content in it, but it's a lot more in those campaigns. Yeah, obviously it's a lot more structured of like, they're going to tell you what your goal is. Like for each mission, there's probably like 6 major goals, but there's also a bunch of like micro goals in it that you can choose to take on to appease faction, like other people in the factions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people will come up, like there's a capitalist group, and they'll be like, oh, I want a stock exchange. So you agree to build them a stock exchange. So you eventually have to do that. Like things like that. It's a lot more structured and not planned out, but it's a lot more structured as like you do have a set goal in mind rather than it's a giant sandbox.
I might check it out just to get me back into those like sim builder games. It's been a while.
If you want to check out Tropico, check out 4.
Well, I think I might just wait for this one.
Or just wait for that one.
I'm in no rush.
Because if anyone else is, I think 5's $20 and 4's $15. Get 5 if you want the prettier game, because 5's pretty good looking graphics wise. It's only a couple of years old, and I think 4 is probably like 6 or 7 at this point now. But 4 is just a better game.
Cool. All right, I've still been playing Black Ops Blops. But there's some interesting news that has been released. So if you don't remember, last week I was talking about how there seemed to be some sort of weird lag situation going on, and I was going to do a test to see if using a lower internet would provide me in a better sort of score. So since I've said that, there has been so many Reddit threads and forum threads and stuff like that of people just like posting their footage on, basically getting robbed out of shots. And essentially what would happen is they would see an enemy, they would shoot the enemy, but then somehow the enemy would go in and fire back late and then kill them. And then when you look back on the footage, the hit markers aren't working, and essentially the second player would see them first. So it was a miscommunication between the server from Call of Duty side and then the home server.
Bad net code and a really shitty refresh rate, or like server tick.
Tick rate is just is terrible. And then we found out that when they released the beta, it was running at a full 60 hertz tick rate, which is essentially what you want. You want a nice strong tick rate.
I mean, you honestly want better, but yeah.
Yeah. It was doable. For Call of Duty, it was a doable tick rate, and it's been the standard. Basically.
we all like in the CS community, we all knock Valve for doing 64, but like honestly 60-64, like that's totally valid and passable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go lower, but
No.
that's totally acceptable for the most part. You still, even at 60-64, you still have definitely a ton of times where just hit regs just beyond fucked.
Yeah, and at that point, it's usually such a large discrepancy in the servers that it wouldn't really matter anyway.
Yeah,
But people
like,
were wondering, like, why is my
But
ping
also-
so low, you know? And, like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, just everything was just everything just felt off about the hit mechanics. And when we found out that they essentially downgraded the servers a week after the game was released to 20 hertz tick rate. So it was not that good when I first got the game, and now it's really bad. There's like there's so many threads you could go on this subreddit and see of people just literally, you know,
Whoa.
5-6 shots to someone's face, and then they're just not registering. And then somehow when they look at the kill cam, they were seen as the late person. Or what would happen is before you would even get around a corner, you would die. And it's essentially because the other person, the other player, who would normally have that lower that lower ping, would see you first, just because of the way the tick rate was sent, and they essentially killed you because they saw you around that corner, but you technically weren't around the corner yet. And it was just a lot of stuff like that. So it gets really frustrating, especially in Call of Duty, where, you know, your kill streaks are what matters. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and it's supposed to be super fast and like
Yeah.
two bullet bursts that happen in the span of 0.02 seconds.
right.
You
So what's
Yeah.
what's good is that they increased the time to kill, which, you know, it takes a little bit longer to kill someone, especially with like a submachine gun, or certain other guns are more powerful than others. But for the most part, they up the time to kill to kind of give you that buffer. But because of the hit rates are so bad, it just seems like you're squeezing at someone and it's taking forever to kill them. And then the hit rates are bad, so then all of a sudden you die in like 2 hits. When in reality, they're actually shooting at you, you know, for that same amount of time. You're just not getting it registered on your end, and you're not registering your hits. So it's just a mess right now. I think it's gonna get cleared up. I think they're gonna fix it, and it's all gonna get a lot better. Because Call of Duty always comes out with some weird little thing that everyone freaks out about. The Call of Duty fan base is insane, the worst fan base in any fan base in gaming. Maybe PUBG is worse, but Call of Duty is up there, and I expect them to not stop until this is fixed. You know what I mean? Like the fan base is just
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, that's-
rabid. It's just they're gonna have to
if
fix it.
you're dropping it all the way to 20, which is insane, that's a temporary fix. Like, I totally expect them to actually fix that, or even go get better servers or more servers if that's what they need.
Yeah,
Because
I
like
agree.
if you have to drop it all the way to 20 because you have that many people or something like that,
yeah.
that's a temporary fix. That's not gonna like last.
And some people were saying the tick rate in blackout mode is 10 hertz. So that's not good. It's a really low. It's really low, but it's still fun, man. I do have like, this feels so good. This feels like one of the better Call of Duties in so long. It just feels right. I'm not the only one who thinks that either. You know, I've played Call of Duty almost every single year, and the last few years I've been like, this is nice. It feels like they're getting back to what they want. Now this release comes out, I'm like, wow, these guns feel great. The progression feels great. The just the maps and the layouts, everything feels really nice and polished. But then this bullshit happens, and it's just so frustrating because you don't want your kill ratio to be bad. Like, that's one of the things that people look at and call, like, when you play Madden online, you want your rating, you know, your win to lose rating to be high. That's like a accomplishment. That's why you play it. There's no campaign. You play to get better at the game, to beat other people. Call of Duty is the same exact way. There's no campaign. It's strictly multiplayer. Just be as the best player as you can. So when you get cheated out of kills, it just feels 10 times worse. And now we kind of know our answer. There's other things that are kind of going wrong with the game as well that hopefully get fixed pretty soon. But for now, it's a little upsetting. But it's not the end of the world. I'm not too upset about it. You just need to know exactly what you're dealing with. So moving on to the next story. 100 Thieves, which is an esports company started by Nadeshot, which is a Call of Duty player. I don't think he plays Call of Duty anymore. I think he more is just a team manager, team owner. But he's got Scooter Braun and Drake, the artist Drake, to invest in his company. And from Forbes, or what Forbes has said, I don't know if Forbes said this or someone else said. Yes, Forbes says it here. 100 Thieves has actually raised $25 million in total funding, and the new influx of capital will go toward building out its content team, acquiring new talent, and continuing to expand its apparel line. I think this is phenomenal. Nadeshot is probably one of the few streamers that I watch, and I don't really watch him playing games. I usually just watch his like vlogs and stuff. I'm more interested in the managerial aspect of esports than I am the actual players, mainly because a lot of the games that they play I have no fucking interest in whatsoever. But what I like about Nadeshot is, you know, he's a young guy. He was a player. He wants to start up this esports team, and he's becoming somewhat of a leader, I guess, in American esports and how it's going to look and how it's going to feel. And getting someone like Drake and Scooter Braun only gives him more credibility. It only gives him more clout, as the kids say. And I think this is great for the overall esports genre. I don't think this is... Oh, what's going on here?
So what games are they sponsoring? Like, they what?
You see that?
Yeah, I do.
It just went away, though. Do you still see it?
No, it went away.
All right. I need to figure what the hell what happened there.
Anyway, what games are they like sponsoring? Are they doing like Fortnite, League of Legends? Like, do they have any FGC?
I know they're doing Call of Duty because that's kind of what he started on as. Definitely Fortnite as well. League of Legends, it looks like. It was one of the new teams buying into the North American region of League of Legends at the start.
The moneymakers.
Yeah. Basically all the popular ones.
See, that's the thing, is like Echo Fox and a couple other of esport like teams have dropped a lot of the fighting game players off of their rosters because it's just not as popular as having like a Fortnite streamer. And it's also part of the personalities.
Right.
You know,
that's a big thing.
When a team sponsors you as a player, yeah, they expect you to go out to tournaments, do well, place, you know, represent the brand. But when you're not doing that, they expect you to be streaming X amount of hours per week.
That's
you know,
too much.
Promoting the product.
It's too much, man.
It's that. Then also you got to do
content.
Brand deals.
You do
Yeah,
brand deals. You got to vlog. You got to have an Instagram. You got to have a
You got to
Twitter.
go to the HyperX house and film 20 questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all of that type of crap.
And that's what 100 Thieves is getting this money for. They want to be able to pay, I guess, editors, and you know, they want to be able to have them do that, but not interfere in their lives. But I guarantee you, if you are a professional gamer, your goal should just be getting good at the game. You know what I mean? He should be, in terms of the managerial department, he should be worrying about that stuff. You know, if he wants to ask them questions, don't let them do it because it's just gonna burn them out. It's so much work.
It's partially that, but there is it's Optic. I mean, he comes from COD, so like he's like a lot of the COD esports teams that have really popped up. Like Optics branched out into a lot of other esports like CS:GO, things like that.
Yeah,
Envious has, but like not to that same extent. But like when Optic came into like CS:GO and other sports, they were like really big on trying to like also teach them how to like become YouTubers.
Yeah,
and like content creators,
like the FaZe clan.
Right, but partially as a revenue source for the team, but also partially as like, here's what you can do after you retire from video games, because let's be real, it's not a very long career.
Yeah. So
like it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it's like, how much time they got?
Yeah, and it's like,
I mean, in today's market, it's no longer enough to just be good at your game. You have to do so much more than just that.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, you can just be good at the game and just play, but like Jerry says, like that's not a viable long-term solution. You know, if you're an NFL lineman, you're not going out, you're doing all the interviews, doing all the press packages and stuff like that. You're not getting the brand deals. You're just going out, you're blocking players, you're going home, but you're making such a large amount of money for the most part that it should sustain you for quite some time, that you can invest and do other things.
Why do you
with.
think a lot of offensive tackles get into politics?
There you
I was
go.
gonna say that, but then also, speaking of offensive tackles, Schlereth, he broadcasted the game I watched this weekend. Fucking Schlereth is out there after a career, is now trying to do hosting gigs all the time, is working for Fox. And then if you go to his Twitter, it's just completely branded in this fucking chili brand. Apparently he makes chili.
Good
like,
for
it's-
him, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So like there are a lot of them who are realizing afterwards. It's one of those weird things too, where like if you make enough of a name for yourself, there's definitely revenue streams for you once you're done.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of pros in CS:GO and stuff, they just went full-time streamers because they would just start doing it for fun. And like some of them are huge now, like
And they
think
probably
of Shroud,
they probably
things like
make
that.
way more money. They don't have to
Yeah.
worry about practicing every single, you know what I mean? Even though they do anyway.
But like even some of like the older ones, it's one of those things where it's like if you there is an argument too on the reverse side of if you are good enough, you can make your name big enough just by competing well at events, that once it is time to retire, you have multiple revenue sources available to you. And that includes hosting gigs, because I've seen a lot of ex-players start becoming hosts and talent at esport events, things like that. But also they're still streaming. There's tons of other things you can do if you build your brand just by being good.
Yeah.
That is viable too.
And I think like you said, like Optic and 100 Thieves are the prime example of that sort of super branded kind of gamer-esque. I mean, when you see all of them kind of playing, they have a specific type of brand that they kind of portray, and it's a good idea, and that's what gets Drake to invest, and that's what gets you to get those that capital funding, so you can hire editors, you can hire a social media team, and then you can focus on other ventures, whether it is getting better at the game or if it's doing your stream, or you don't have to worry about doing all that other shit, because that shit takes so much fucking time out of your day, and you don't want to have to be worrying about that shit if you don't have to.
But I mean, like, there's times that we definitely do that, and I think it's 100 Thieves is going to try to make as much fucking YouTube content as possible, because that is one of their major revenue sources. But like, it is interesting too, where it's like, this is news because Drake's investing in it.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool, but it's like, I think that tells you a lot too about their type of marketing, that it's like, no, we got Drake to invest, when it's like other teams have had like Shaq invest, like other big names, and they've used them as marketing things, but the real investors are people you've never heard of, because they're the ones who actually have a lot of money and know how to spend it smartly.
Yeah.
And it is interesting to me, like, seeing that side, because I mean, like, shit, dude, Steph Curry just came out with a phone last week.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's more of like why having Drake is a good idea for them, because it fits with their brand. It's not like out of brand, It's not like they have like, I don't know, who's that guy? One of the other guys that invested recently. He's just sort of like an investor. It's just it's on brand for them, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
there's an esports team that's got investments from like Derek Jeter and Shaq. Like, of course they fucking marketed that.
A lot of former baseball stars and even current NBA players.
A lot of current NBA
esports.
Yeah,
Ryan Howard is big in the Philadelphia esports scene.
He gives a lot of money.
Does a lot of money and a lot of marketing and stuff for them.
Are they going to return on that investment? That's kind of what I want to see, because it could be an esports bubble. They could be dumping in tons of money. There's no central sort of.
It is a bubble, but that's part of the risk, because like it's totally a bubble, but it's not so insanely big that everyone's going to get fucked. It's one of those things where, unlike say like Bitcoin or like even like housing bubbles, there's a fucking product here built out of entertainment that's going to survive. Mm-hmm. So there is going to be someone who is going to win that bubble. So everyone still is trying to get in because they want to be the winner of that fucking bubble.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see. $25 million investing. That's a lot of money that you're asking to return. I don't know. Do you think
That's
they're
nothing.
making
Shaq gave 250.
250 million? So
Yep.
where does that money go exactly?
I think it was million. I don't know.
That's a lot of money.
25 million is not that much for an esports team. I mean,
Well, they're not buying
it is
the
a lot,
team.
but like that's
They're not
like,
even buying the team. They're sort of they're just giving them some capital, and I'm
that's
assuming
like, but that's like enough capital. Like, okay, they do still have a league team? Question mark? I don't know, because that's got $1 million buy-in, and probably like if you're a major powerhouse, you're trying to support a LoL team, a CSGO team, which they're kind of out of, an Overwatch League team. If you're trying to do all of that, God, even 25 million will last you probably 2.5 years.
Really?
There's some, because maybe, I don't know, I would guess that, because some players' salaries, depending on the sports, are getting pretty decent. Like, especially in CSGO, that's why not a lot of people are backing out of CSGO, because that kind of was a bubble for a bit. There was top teams who were on like 2-year contracts for like.
So most players are paid
like
on a salary. They're not paid
right.
by any sort of winnings. That goes to the
both. No, it's both.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of these esports teams do have to have like a lot of revenue streams, because you're also not going to get someone to sign if they're like going to $1 million tournament and they're not going to see anything of it.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. So you're thinking
it is a
million.
percentage. It's a smaller percentage, obviously, but like
that's probably split between the rest of the players, whatever that percentage is, and then you have to pay for their housing, their travel, their lodging. I mean, that money goes pretty quick.
Yeah, and
goes out. So how much are they really bringing in? Is what I really want to know.
Not a lot. A lot of these are like still really small operations. Like TSM, I still think is like 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, because
that's what I'm saying. I think
some of these costs
a lot of money going in, but how much is actually being produced?
Not nearly as much, I don't think. I mean, it depends on sponsorships. I have no idea how much really is in sponsorships, obviously. But like, no, I mean, like some players for CSGO, like they were talking salaries of like over 10 to sometimes getting towards 20 and over $20 or $20,000.
Yeah.
A month.
So
plus winnings.
I did a little bit of research, and Ryan Howard, his venture capitalist that he's like working with, like his company 76 Capital, they're the ones who invested in Nerd Street Gamers and Localhost Arena.
That's cool though. Nerd Street's pretty cool.
They just announced last week that they are opening a Localhost Denver.
Cool.
So they're expanding, and that money, a lot of it's coming from Ryan Howard's investment.
That's cool, because I like Nerd Street.
Yeah,
never been there, don't know any of the people, but for like smaller big lands, they've always made some really fucking good ones.
Yep.
Like Fragadelphia is legendary for like semi-pro like CSGO stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're expanding their like venues to other cities. And I don't think any of that would have been possible without, the investment from Ryan Howard.
No, definitely not.
So, I mean, if they're expanding, then they're definitely making some kind of profit for them.
But that's also, I have a hard time believing that's anywhere near $25 million. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money.
Well, that's also a different thing, though. He's not sponsoring an esports team.
Right.
He's sponsoring a physical LAN location that has people coming in to show up, and there's a revenue source there.
Yeah, but those venues rely on having esports be a thing.
Right.
And the expansion of esports brings in more people. I mean, like Dragon Ball FighterZ is a huge thing for a lot of these small venues, because that was a very popular game, and they got a lot of people in for tournaments.
Right. All right, moving on. Discord drops their gaming store. Did you guys see that? Because we all use Discord.
I did see that. And if you have Nitro, there's like you get free games or something like that. If you
That's
get
what was interesting to me.
package.
That's kind of what was interesting to me.
I just don't feel like paying
Oh, it's
that
working now.
$10 a month for something else.
It's so much
Yeah.
money. They asked the Nitro's expensive.
It's actually working now. Because when I tried to do it earlier on when it released, it would not open.
Oh,
It would
really?
not open for me. Yeah. Just sit there with a gray screen.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a right step for Discord. I mean, because
I mean, they
Discord's
gotta make
essentially
money somehow.
right. They're
As
not
you say,
making
they're not
money.
making money.
They're not making money on Nitro. They're not making money on ads. So this is a great way to do it. That I don't think is exploitative, and I think coupling it with their subscription service is a smart idea.
There's nothing that you're gonna, you're not losing anything by not having it, but it's nice for the people who want to support Discord to get it.
Yeah. I do want to try and get a game on Discord to see
You
if I
can-
would prefer it over Steam in any
I
way.
might.
But yeah, you can actually import your games, I think, from Steam into Discord
Yeah.
and open up through Discord.
Yeah, I
Which
want to
might
try
be
it.
good for me because I never have Steam open. I always have Discord open though.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like Discord is the social platform, and then Steam is normally just the game platform, which has a social platform to it. And we have like a Steam curated list and stuff like that, but no one really uses Steam's social platforming other than just like in-game messaging. So I think Discord, it just makes sense for them to be like, we have a good social platform. Let's add
Don't
a
even
game platform
touch
on.
Messenger on Steam.
Plus, like some of these games that they have for like their first released on Discord or whatever, some of these look interesting. Almost all of them are like cheap.
And
you
I
know?
can just imagine that they're going to integrate it better into their thing. You know what I mean? So it just becomes a more better PC game platform. I think Discord is priming themselves up to be something really competitive towards Steam, especially since
and,
Steam
like,
has so much trash on Steam. You know?
Honestly, like in the Nitro things, that's not a bad lineup to release with.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Discord's competing with so many other things for like it's really interesting because they've competed with things like Mumble for voice over internet protocol.
Yeah.
Their Discord videos still work in progress, but it's almost like they're challenged to Google Hangouts and Skype.
I would love to
attempting-
see them
Now
build
they're
that out
getting
way
into
more.
games.
Now they're also a major chat platform. Like they've basically taken over anything IRC used to be.
They're huge
Yep.
on mobile. So many people use it on mobile.
Using on mobile.
I see
Same.
people who were talking about Google Android messaging and how it compares to iMessage, and people are just like, I just use Discord, and I'm just like, that's really interesting to me. That
And it's free.
you don't even text
Now you
anymore.
can't argue with free.
Right, and it works great as a free platform. I have
And
no
then-
interest in paying. You know,
Now they're going up against Steam, but I kind of like this approach they're going after.
me too.
Because this is mostly just cheap indies.
Yeah,
And like that's a place to get noticed because Steam's become a black hole for indies, just mostly because there's so fucking much.
yeah. There's so much trash
That
too.
we've discussed before why this does sound like pretty well with the indies because it's not right. Well, like right when it started, it wasn't such a black hole like Steam was.
It's
Yeah.
getting there though.
It is starting to get there.
It's starting to
But, like,
slowly get there.
The most expensive game I've seen so far is $25. But or 30.
I mean, I would
for
like to see
Frostpunk, but
like
I already had that.
Call of Duty on there or Counter Strike. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
They even have some free games.
Yeah, I would like to
could
see
try
like
out.
some bigger games on there, games that I personally would buy. Just
That
to,
sells.
I want to see it like pair up with the games better than what Steam is
True.
doing because I think Steam failed on the social platform. They don't push it as much. It's too cluttered.
And actually using it, I do like, okay, if you just scroll, if you go to all games, you just scroll over it, it instantly starts playing a video in Steam right there, so you can instantly start seeing the gameplay without having to click on it. It shows you Metacritic. It shows you when it was released. Like it shows you all of the important information while showing you actual gameplay footage immediately while you're hovering over it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And a really nice UI package. That's
And the only thing,
sure.
like the one thing I think they could do a little bit better on is the overlays when you're in game because
Oh, those are trash.
Yeah, it's not very good, and
No, they need
it's
to fix
definitely one of
it.
the things they need to work on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's so many good things they do that it almost feels like it's nitpicking.
But then again, I don't like having 5 different stores that I got to install. Like once they start doing exclusives, like how you have to have Origin, then BattleNet, then Steam, then
And you got Galaxy of Gamers or whatever that thing is,
it's
GOG.
just too much, man. It's too much.
got that
I
one.
want to see Discord win. Out of all of them, I would love to see Discord win.
I want to see Steam still win, to be honest, but I want Discord to be incredibly competitive because I still don't see Discord becoming the end all be all. You know what I mean? Like this is a lovely setup, but a lot of it's still free with Nitro. There's not a huge amount, and it's mostly indies. But like if this became a huge place for cool indies, that would be sick. But also, I wish they could go out and integrate with all of the non-Steam shit. Like, okay, now you have to open the Blizzard launcher to play Black Ops. Well, Fallout 76 is coming out with a new fucking Bethesda launcher because, of course, they have to have their own launcher too. Every fucking major studio is having their own launcher. If they could, like, go to EA and be like, hey, we'll work with Origin with you. So you can just launch Origin games, like, signed in from Discord and, like, do the same thing with Blizzard, like, everything that's not on Steam, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
I know that won't happen, but that'd be really sick.
Yeah, so I was just saying.
Yeah.
Kind of like too many stores. Don't need
like
to have
I don't even mean like the GOGs. Like I'm okay with letting GOG kind of be what it is. Like
GOG is like just a key seller.
Yeah, like all of those kinds where it's just like, well, I mean, there's also the Green Man dude. It's like GOG, but it's an even shittier ripoff.
I don't even use
There's
that.
like a bunch of other
scam.
There's a bunch of other stores like that you never know where they're getting their keys from.
They're stealing them.
Yeah.
They're random key generators, which is a great idea. Remember when random key generators were huge? When they first started popping up and you just had to download the game and you just got a random key generator and you could fucking play it. That was so great. Those are the good old days of gaming when you could steal your games.
No, I think this definitely has. Now that I've actually opened it and it actually opened for me this time,
I think they just need to integrate better with the games. Get bigger games.
Get more. Because still right now they still only have like 20.
Because I'm not gonna get 99% of those games on that list. But if they did bring, like, if Battlefield 5 were on it or if Call of Duty was on it, then I'd be like, oh shit, I'll just get it for Discord since I have it open all the time anyway, and I don't need to use 5 different fucking apps to open my game and to talk at the same time. All right, Battlefield, is it Doom? So this is an article released by RealGamerNewZ.com. At the hands of EA, many great game studios and franchises have been strangled to death. More than ever, the future of Battlefield is in serious jeopardy. While there's no shortage of controversy surrounding DICE's latest entry in the well-known shooter series Battlefield, EA Games has also been experiencing lower approval ratings than ever with the gaming community. Adding to the staleness of the aging genre that rarely hits its mark without issues, 2018 blockbuster year is full of titles like Red Dead 2, God of War, Fallout 76, Assassin's Creed, Spider-Man, and staunch competition from Black Ops 4. And then this article goes on and it's saying, like, is Battlefield going to turn out to be another Titanfall? Is essentially that's what they're really afraid of. One red flag has been the downfall of Soderlund, who originally took the helm of CEO at DICE. After salvaging the Battlefield brand while the original DICE staff quietly left the studio, Soderlund drew ire from the gaming community when he made the remark that critics of Battlefield 5's unrealistic style, focus on cosmetic microtransactions and inclusivity, were uneducated and told fans either accept it or don't buy the game, leading to the massive trolling campaign in which gamers commented things like, "Unfortunately, I can't purchase the game due to me being uneducated." Its pre-order numbers were later reported by Wall Street Journal as being so low that insiders at DICE are expecting another Titanfall 2 situation in which EA will escape admitting fault once again by blaming other large titles for stealing the spotlight rather than their own failings in marketing. Soderlund ended up quitting EA after collecting over $50 million in pay for the last 4 years alone, which is incredible. This came just 1 month after Blake Jorgensen, COO, had dumped another 1.5 into EA Games stock shares. So we have a lot of controversy around this game, especially with the whole there was no women fighting in World War II, the whole microtransactions.
No, there were, just not with a fucking robot arm.
Yeah, well, you get that. You understand.
Yeah.
I've never made that remark. I think that's kind of a stupid thing. You're playing a fucking Battlefield game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were never really, other than 1942, they never prided on being completely accurate.
No. I think
And then you have
honestly
the controversies, then you have the microtransactions and the other titles being released. You know, Red Dead releasing on Friday. Get out of here. And I personally do not think Battlefield is in any sort of trouble at all. I think once it releases, if it's as good as the last one was, if the Battle Royale style is better than Call of Duty's, it needs to come out. It needs to not have a bad server tick rate, and it'll be just fine.
Who cares
Personally.
about the Battle Royale?
Millions and millions of people.
It's gonna have a 5.
I know. But no, I mean, honestly,
Including
like,
me.
even if, honestly, I almost hope so. Because, like, real talk, like, some of the best experiences I've ever had with Battlefield and why I really enjoy Battlefield was, like, when Bad Company 2 was dying. Like, when it was a smaller player base of people who were really fucking good. And it was just people who actually enjoyed playing that game instead of the train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it got Call of Duty
It's-
5 pretty quickly.
Yeah. So it's like both are good to me. I'm okay with both.
I don't think it's doomed. I think it's going to not be as big of a seller maybe as it once
No.
was. But all it really needs is a couple good streamers playing it and people going, wow, this game actually looks really fun. The Battle Royale looks pretty dope. It looks way better than Call of Duty and PUBG. It's more polished. Wow, the multiplayer is huge. It's Battlefield. It's such a
It's
gigantic
that,
game.
yeah. It's that, but it's also Battlefield. Battlefield has a dedicated fan base that they'll just still fucking play this game for 4 years.
Me, I am part of this fan base. I fucking
It's
love
gonna
Battlefield.
It's gonna benefit from coming out after Call of Duty.
No.
If it come out before Call of Duty, it was gonna be dead in the water.
I don't think so. I don't think so of that either.
I think more people would have been like, well, we're just going to wait for Call of Duty. Now that Call of Duty's out, they have the benefit of going, okay, I'll try this one as well.
Yeah, I see your point. Especially now with all of the issues. I mean, there's so
Exactly.
many issues with Call of Duty right now. If Battlefield gets released and I can almost bet on DICE releasing this game almost bug free, at least bug free in terms of like severe issues like tick rate and hit registration. Battlefield is always on point with that. So if they can release and not have those issues, and it's a fun game to play. Like I said, all you need is a couple of streamers, and people will be like, "Wow, this game looks."
This
dope.
is.
I'll take good tick.
Players.
Yeah, I'll always take good tick rate, even if it comes with a few Slendermans.
I was gonna say this is what's going to be inspiring. DICE is going to take this system, build upon it, and when Star Wars Battlefront 3 comes out, they'll have a Star Wars Battle Royale.
Which would be so dope. I'd be so into that. All right. VR market currently unavailable.
Also,
They're
can I
unviable.
just going back to that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I
currently
just give a quick shout out to Real Gamer News New Z
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
for really having the balls to make that your fucking website title. That is the name of your company.
I didn't even see that. I just saw this was like a talked about story, and I was like, this is a great website. We're gonna
Real
feature this
Gamer
one.
New.
I could have featured any other one, but I chose you, Real Gamer News Z.
I expect Real Gamer News to be blowing a sick vape cloud.
Right.
By the way, it's written
Oh.
in Boston, New York, Indiana, and programmed in London and Canada, if you were wondering.
Okay, sure.
as
I would
shown.
not have guessed that.
As
to be
shown.
honest. But like, I also love if you keep going down. It's just like if you go to their actual homepage, well-crafted website. Like it looks good. The stories seem well written. Like I'm not knocking the name. I'm not knocking the quality of work so far. But I do love that it's a giant fucking ad for whatever this game is, and a little Helvetica 12 font link to the actual like column that's written about it. You have a full screen fucking ad for what the title of the game is.
He's got to pay for all that fucking advertising. All right, so CEO of CCP Games claims current VR market financially unviable, and this is a huge, huge issue. CEO of CCP Games. What was that?
You don't say.
Yeah,
this is shocking.
It's a problem right now in VR.
The reason why they've closed 2 studios.
So recently sat down with Destructoid to discuss the current market for VR as well as the developer's reportedly low sales performance with Valkyrie on PSVR. Following the unfortunate performance, CCP announced that its 2 studios in Atlanta and UK were shutting down in 2018. He had this to say about their expectations. We expected VR to be 2 to 3 times as big as it was, period. You can't build a business on that. Now, the problem with this thinking is that VR is such an impressive technology, and anytime you get someone to put on an Oculus headset and you load up the rock climbing game, or you load up Robo Recall, and you just let them kind of experience it, it is such a gripping and enthralling experience that you never forget it. It's so stunning, the technology. The problem is that it is so encumbersome to get into. It is so difficult to get someone into true good VR. PlayStation tried with the PSVR headset. They were one of the closest to do it. Oculus is now releasing the Oculus Go and a new Oculus headset, which is basically just a headset. You don't need a computer. You don't need a phone. You just put the headset on and it just fucking works. That's a huge step. And I think that's going to be where we start to see these really interesting, smart programs that come out that start to integrate VR into our lives. And then when Apple or when Microsoft or when NVIDIA release this AR sort of component to it, then we're going to see it explode. But right now it's still just way too early right now. It's such an early adopted tech. It's just I think the VR guys are like, this is the best, this is the craziest technology we've ever seen in such a long time. It's going to have to explode just because of how good it is. But they just didn't detach themselves and see
how expensive it is.
How expensive and how hard, like, it's so expensive, Yeah.
The software can't succeed in sales and stuff like that because the hardware is just not there yet for financial responsibility.
And to be honest, a lot of software sucks. A lot of the software is not good use of VR.
No, we don't need all first gen.
Yeah,
it's very gimmicky. It's very niche.
Yeah, we don't need 90 different, jump scare fucking, walkthroughs. Like, Robo Recall is a perfect example of VR being taken to that next step. And that was what got a lot of VR gamers to come in and say, holy shit, this is a crazy platform we do a lot with. But you can't just keep making Robo Recall. You have to keep advancing it. This is brand new technology. You really have to push the boundaries here. And we will get there, but...
so then it's all VR chat.
Yeah.
I will buy one of those if they can get VR chat on phones.
No,
because like that's the shitty part about the Oculus Go is like it is really cool. It's $200. It's a great entrance that you don't have to use your phone with, but basically it's a cheap phone attached to your face.
Yeah,
like the hardware in it is still just a phone hardware. You know what I mean? It's still basically just running Android for. I don't know if it is for sure, but that's basically what it's doing.
Yeah, just running a Snapdragon processor in it. But that's going to be what a lot of people are going to get for Christmas and stuff like that. And that's what's going to introduce them into the market and getting them to buy those $5 to $10 apps, those little kind of games, and then that market will start to grow.
I'm surprised PSVR hasn't taken off even more because that was what my winner was. It's like that's who I expected to like.
There's just no games.
That's the thing. That's what I'm more surprised is like people aren't making a lot more software for that. Because, like, okay, Valkyrie here was, but, like, if anyone should be winning, it's probably PlayStation.
It's just that if you're going to, because it takes so much money to, I guess, to develop a VR game, that it's just like,
Yeah.
why do that when we could just create a normal game and just
It
make
does.
3 times as much more money? And I understand it, especially if you're a smaller developer and you need to make that money to live, or if you're a AAA developer and you just need to please your shareholders. You know, the VR is just a second thought. And right now, to me, the strongest for me is the VR racing sims, but that is such a niche market. Like, you're not making money on this market. No one really makes money in VR racing sims. You know what I mean?
You gotta get that bass fishing VR.
Well, that's a huge thing that's I think is going to be really popular is the transportation AR stuff. So, you know, VR or AR chat rooms where you can kind of sit and talk with someone and have
Dude,
these, like
it's all about VR chat.
VR chat was
It's all
huge
about
for
VR
a
chat.
reason, but it was too. It's kind of like
Second Life.
Yeah, well, it's just
Same reason
too
why
like
Second Life was huge.
it's just too like MS Paint. Like, we need the
Oh, yeah.
Photoshop version of VR chat, which we will get very soon. And I think Facebook honestly is going to be the one to do it. Integrating their
Possibly.
Facebook tech into it,
Yeah,
it's going to
probably.
explode.
And now that'll be terrifying, and I won't use it.
Then they can
But-
actually track your VR avatar everywhere.
Yeah, next I'll make sure to play it on my Facebook portal.
All right, Red Dead
Please don't do
Redemption.
that.
Red Dead Redemption 2's map leaks is predictably big. Like we were saying, I don't know if we said it on air or off air, but Red Dead was shown to be on 2 discs, which in what I think is one of the first modern games to actually come out on 2 discs since the Blu-ray was released. I don't think we've ever seen a game be released on 2 discs before in the Blu-ray age. So this is a humongous game. You said it was 105 gigabytes?
It's about 105 install with the rumored 2 discs, and I think if you're just doing digital, it's 150 gigs.
It might be 3.
Total hard drive space.
That or they literally got special discs for it. Because I
I
still
don't
think
know.
the biggest dual layer Blu-ray is like 50 gigs.
Those might
So
be
it's,
the biggest,
it's big. It's
but
big.
they might have gone cheaper because it might have been cheaper to save by going for 2 smaller discs than just for the bigger disc. I don't know what the prices on those stuff are. It's
No, like I mean the biggest one I know of is only 50.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Let's see if PS4 uses a different. Is it
I don't know if
only
they still use
PS4?
just regular Blu-ray or what.
PS4 disc size, I guess is. We'll Google that. But it would have to be more than that. What's the maximum gigabytes PS4 can hold on disc? 50 gigabytes. So standard
Yeah.
Blu-ray is 25 gigabytes a layer. By the way, dual layer is 50 gigabytes. So they're squeezing it. Oh, there's XL layers. There's multiple layers. So you can have an XL 3 layer, which is 100 gigs, and a standard disc
Okay, that's what I was
XL
wondering.
4
Yeah.
layer, which is 128 gigs. So that's
But-
they probably have one 3 layer and then one single layer or something like that.
Or it's a newer version because the 4 by itself doesn't say it supports XL.
Oh, okay.
yeah, whatever it is. I mean, it's probably whatever was financially more reasonable for them to do.
Who's buying discs except Doobie anyway? Not this guy. Doobie's buying the only. Doobie's disc is like that thick.
Switch. Like I know with the Switch, like cartridges come in different sizes, and
Do
sometimes the company doesn't. They do, yeah.
What?
Yeah, but they go up in price as you increase the storage.
Wait, physical sizes or storage sizes? You're saying?
Like the storage size on the cartridge.
Oh, I thought you meant like the physical size.
No. Like the actual storage space on the cartridge.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
a 4 gig cartridge is going to be cheaper than an 8 gig
Right.
cartridge.
Right.
And some companies, Capcom specifically, I know did it, where the Mega Man Legacy Collection,
It was cheaper to go with 2 smaller ones than one
the,
bigger one.
yeah, like the first set of games was on the cartridge, but you had to download the other set of games digitally because they didn't want to pay for the bigger cartridge to fit all of it.
I'll tell you what, with how slow PS4's internet download is, you
Oh,
might be
my
better off getting the disc in this case. 150 gigabytes on PS4s.
You're
I
gonna
might have
be-
to get it on
you're gonna sit there
Xbox.
for about two to 3 hours minimum waiting for this thing to install.
Dude, I wait.
So, well, I
I
mean,
wait
that's
4 or
because-
5 to get God of War, and that's 50
Yeah.
gigs.
But this is why you preload.
Yeah, I better
But
start
also,
now
like,
if I want to get done by
I have
Friday.
a 500 gig hard drive on my PS4, and even with my physical only, I have to keep deleting things off of there. The installs, like the save data, is fine, But if I want to replay like any other games now, with the way I have it set up, I have to reinstall those games.
What are you deleting for this game? Do you know?
What am I deleting for this game?
Everything.
I don't even know because I'm not sure when I'm going to be buying this game yet.
Oh, you're not going to get it on launch day?
Not getting it launch day. No, I'm gonna let others get a launch day. It's not something that like. I know Red Dead's a great game. I know it's gonna be a great game, but it's not one of those games where it's like, oh, I don't want to be spoiled by the story. I know it's gonna be good, and I'll get it when I get it.
Go finish Witcher 3.
Here we go. Tubi's not going to get it for another 7 years.
Go finish The Witcher 3.
No, I'm going to get it on launch day. The fucking
after Spider-Man.
Yeah, which the DLC just got released. I can't wait.
Yeah, I gotta pick it up.
But the map looks fucking gigantic. I was expecting a big map, but the way that they kind of it looks huge because they show a leak. We saw the leaked gameplay footage, and you can kind of get a scope for like how big like the town is that he was in, and I mean this map looks like it's gonna be just massive, man, massive, which is gonna be so dope. I cannot wait to play this game. What do they say? 60 to 100 hours of gameplay in it, something insane like that. All right, moving on. Sega Dreamcast titles on Nintendo Switch one step closer to reality, which is kind of cool. I like this little image here of the Dreamcast Switch cons. Dreamcons?
Joycasts?
Joycast? I don't know. What Dreamcast games do you want to play on Switch? Soul Calibur 1?
Jet Set Radio.
Okay.
Jet Set Radio Future.
Shenmue?
Hey, Shenmue 1 and 2.
I'm going to play Shenmue again?
Power Stone Fighters.
Don't know that one.
It was like Smash, but like much more. It was Smash if Smash was a party game. Like how Smash wanted to be a party game.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, despite being really old and aging poorly, you got to put them on there.
No, you don't.
You gotta.
All right.
History.
Fine.
I don't see anything. I mean, if they're not going to put if they're going to put the GameCube Skies of Arcadia, put the original Dreamcast Skies of Arcadia on there.
Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Man, that game was awesome.
Crazy Taxi.
Ah.
Sega owns Crazy Taxi franchise.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I mean, I think it's cool. I would like to see what I want to see if they're going to do this route is just do like a Dreamcast collection. Just release one collection of like 8 or 10 Dreamcast games.
No, give me Jet Set Radio and like maybe one other game. I don't need much other Dreamcast titles, to be honest. Dreamcast was a failure for a reason. All right.
Not wrong.
Let's get into tech. We are continuing. We're not cutting it. We're going. We usually start off with media. I want to talk about two things. Finish The Haunting of Hill House of the Haunting Hill.
No.
And what?
No.
So I finished the Haunting on... Okay, what's that show called? The Haunting of Hill House. And it was fucking phenomenal. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Phenomenal.
Just for everyone, so everyone knows, we have these lovely notes about The Haunting of the Hill House on House Hill.
I keep forgetting what it's called.
Dude, I do too. I've been like trying to watch it and like I'll talk to people about it and it's like, yeah, the Haunted Hill House. Yeah, the Hill House that's haunted.
That's what I say all the time, Haunted Hill House. But it's fucking so good. I cannot wait for season 2. And then we're talking about Walking Dead. So they just kind of like out of nowhere, Chris Hardwick comes on like mid-show and it's just like, so Rick is in only the next 2 episodes. I know, it's crazy. And they're just like, wait, they're really going to have him leave in the middle? I knew he was leaving in this season, but I thought they were going to finish the season out, kind of kill him off or send him on his way. No, we are in episode 3 now. He's going to be gone in the next 2 episodes, which would be episode 5, the middle of the season. We're in the middle of this like dream future plan that he has planned for this show. So he's like, yeah, I want to build the best world possible and live the life that Carl always wanted me to live. And now he's just going to leave. And I don't know.
I love that he came out in the middle too.
Yeah, it was like a commercial break. He was like, "Hey, Chris Hardwick here. So Rick's gonna be leaving in the next 2 episodes. Just wanted to spring that on you."
It's like we're not gonna try to make anything dramatic or build up to it. We're not gonna try to layer in foreshadowing or like any of these things we've known about. That's every fan's known is gonna happen for like the last year. No, we're just gonna come out in the mid roll and just be like,
"Yeah,
hey, spoiler alert, he's gone. You got 2 episodes left."
Well, that kind of makes me think, did he leave on like bad terms? Where he was just like, no, I'm not shooting any more fucking episodes with your show. I'm done. That's what it seems like, right? It doesn't seem like, all right, let's finish my story that I spent 20 years developing this character for. It is my show. It was built around my story. So let me do the story justice, do you guys justice, and we'll just finish this season out, and then I'm gone after that. It seems like he was like, I'm done. I don't want to film any more episodes. You're going to have to figure out a way to kill me off in episode 5. Make sure you tell Chris Hardwick to let these people know yesterday. And that's it.
Like that part just screams like, what the fuck's going on with management?
Yeah.
And storytelling where it's just like,
yeah.
Is that going to be included in the DVD box set? Like, is he just going to like come out like in the middle of like the 3rd episode, just be like, 2 episodes left.
They did admit that they kind of lost their way. I think season 5, and they said that in a recent article that I read. So they're admitting that they fucked the show, but we'll see. It makes no sense. And then Marquez Brownlee. Oh man, don't pop up in the app. Come on, Windows. What are you doing? Marquez Brownlee was just on Joe Rogan, which I thought was really interesting. And I watched the whole thing today. I was doing some work. And they basically talked a lot about mobile devices and the Pixel. And then they kind of went on this Apple tirade about how Apple keyboards are terrible. Joe Rogan is a very specific tech user. So he wants his keyboards the right sort of way, the way that they've always been. He wants, he wants his, I don't know. He just wants it all to work the way he wants it to work and how he expected it to work as it did before. He doesn't want any sort of change, which, a lot of people are like that, especially people who they don't want something new all the time. They just want something that works really nicely. And the one point that I thought was really interesting between Marquez and Rogan was that they both kind of like understood that Apple is this sort of company that they just want to use, but right now it's just not really it feels like they're not enticing them. You know what I mean? So could you stop making so much noise over there? Dang it! So
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like they want to use Apple products. They look great. They feel great. iOS is great. Mac OS is great. It's just like the keyboard, for instance. A certain sort of ecosystem thing, and they just kind of riffed on that for a lot of the show. And then Marquez had a fucking Red Hydrogen 1 phone camera with him, and Joe Rogan thought that was really interesting. You find out Marquez carries
for that review.
Marquez carries 2 phones, a Google Pixel and a Apple iPhone, and then
he's done that for a long time. Yeah,
he uses an Apple Watch. And then Rogan was like, "Wait, do you get text on your watch?" Because he uses his Pixel as his phone and his iPhone for like social media and stuff. So I was like, that's a little odd. It kind of defeats the purpose of the watch. But he says he just uses it for like fitness and stuff. And then you find out Marquez is like a serious pro Ultimate Frisbee player. I thought he was always like, sort of like a club guy, but he's like a pro Ultimate Frisbee player. Did you know that? He's a pro. He's a professional.
I thought he was really good, but yeah, I guess not professional.
Yeah, he's a professional Ultimate Frisbee player, which is crazy. And then they talk about Ultimate Frisbee for like 45 minutes.
Ben House's hammer.
What?
The hammer. The throw.
Oh, where you throw it vertically?
It's the one that you do this, and it goes upside down, but travels extremely fast, extremely far.
Related to both.
Accurate with it.
Okay.
I throw.
I would assume pretty good if he's a
yeah.
professional.
I throw a pretty mean hammer, but I also am not a professional.
I've never I've played Ultimate Frisbee in high school, but not. I didn't realize it was they had pro teams. He says it's like a new thing though. So I thought that was interesting. It's cool to see Marquez talk to Rogan, because I know speaking to Rogan for a lot of people is like it's like a thing. You want to be able to tell your story on his podcast. He's the #1 podcast in the world, so you kind of want to give your side of things, and having Marquez up there talking about tech and what he thinks of tech culture, it was kind of interesting. So go check it out if you want to listen to that. Now let's talk about tech news. Premiere Rush, I downloaded it, I installed it. It is fucking awesome. It's not Premiere. It's an advanced iMovie, which is exactly what you want in a mobile editing device. And I think it can only get better. There's a little bit of glitchiness here, but I literally downloaded it right after that show last week, which was like the day that it came out. There was an update today. I haven't messed around with it today. I didn't use it on Mac OS either. I'm only using it on my iPad and my iPhone. And oh man, it's great. I'm really excited about the future of mobile Adobe. I really want to see what they do with mobile, because I really think, and I hope that I can leave my laptop home a lot and just use my phone and just use my iPad. That would be the dream. And I think Premiere Pro, or Premiere Rush, I'm sorry, and how it integrates with your social media accounts, and just how the timeline works, how they optimize the text. Like you can literally make text and stuff like that work seamlessly, which is, you can't do that on iMessage or iMovie. With iMovie, it's just like you type in your thing and then it gives you a couple of different filters to use, and that's it. This, you can have it do whatever you want. There's no keyframes, which I was kind of disappointed by. So essentially what a keyframe is you say, okay, in this point in time, I want it here, and then this point in time, I want it here. And you can do different things with keyframes. They don't have that. And that's one thing that LumaFusion has that this doesn't have. So if you want more of an advanced editing software for your mobile device, LumaFusion is still the #1. They just don't have keyframes, and you need keyframes for a lot of things. But hopefully they add that in the future. I don't see why they wouldn't. But I recommend it, especially for someone who wants to upload their shit mobily, cut it up, and just kind of roughly put it together. And then when you get home, you can finish it up, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I could see him adding that in the future.
Hopefully.
But like, even so far, like, that sounds interesting.
It's not perfect by any means.
Yeah. Like,
There's still weird things about it that you got to learn.
I think it would have to be a little bit more advanced than iMovie, though. And I don't mean that as in, like, it's a sort of advanced iMovie. Like, it doesn't have to be Premiere, but, like, if they start charging money for it, like, I mean, if, like, someone was interested in, like, the $10 plan for it.
Oh, well, okay. What do you want? What would you want out of it? And I'll let you know if it does it or not. What specifically? Because one thing that I thought was really cool, I cut up. I have footage from a GoPro that I uploaded to my iPhone, and I cut it up for my Instagram, and it gave me, like, it said, okay, you can upload it vertically if you want it to look like it does on Instagram stories. So I said, okay, do that. I cut it up, and then it gave me a voiceover option, so I could record a voiceover of me just saying, okay, oh, I went here and did this, and then I did that. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I guess I'm just what I'm trying to ask is, like, is it worth $10 a month? Is there enough features there that it would be worth $10 a month for someone who isn't in that Adobe suite?
No.
And that's what I'm wondering. Because if they want to try to release it saying, hey, it's going to cost $10 a month if you just want this or whatever, like, it's got to have $10 a month worth of features.
Yeah, it's $10 a month is like, because I have the Adobe suite, it just comes with my shit. So if you are someone in the Adobe suite, then it is worth it. If you're not, then I think you can get by with either iMovie, LumaFusion. You have to pay for LumaFusion, but it's not a subscription. You can just use LumaFusion, just pay it one time and use that. But $10 a month is expensive for that, for sure.
But what I'm interested in seeing is, I mean, it's going to get updated. That's the one thing is nice that you're sort of paying that subscription for is it's always going to have a good update.
Yeah, and it'll always run nice and smooth. You don't have to worry
So
about
like
that.
I think that's totally a question worth revisiting in like 6 months to a year.
I think if it had keyframes, if it had, it really just keyframes and just a little bit stronger of like an advanced effects palette, then I think then the $10 would be worth it, because then you really wouldn't need much else. But right now it still is more of just like you cut your stuff up, you can color correct it the way you want, you can adjust the audio the way you want, and then record the voiceover, add a title, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? It doesn't really give you much deeper control than that.
Okay.
And there's no one thing that I don't like is you can't export it in certain codecs. So it's only one export. There's no bitrate options. You can't be like, I want to do it in MP4. I want to do it MOV. It's just whatever it exports. And so it would be nice if they added that as well, which I'm sure they will, hopefully. Speaking of which, Affinity has released a response on The Verge about Photoshop for iPad, and they say they are not worried about it. So we know Photoshop for iPad's coming out very soon, well, 2019. And Affinity, which is basically the biggest competitor to it on the iPad, they released a little bit of a statement here. Affinity and Photo Designer offer many of the same core tools as Photoshop, as they can open PSD, synchronize them between our iPad and desktop. Both are available at a one-time cost of $20, a much more affordable alternative to the desktop version of Photoshop, which is available through the subscription plan, starts at $10 a month. Obviously, this is a quote, obviously, Adobe have the vast majority of the creative professional market, so for them to promote workflows like this can only be a good thing for us and validates what we have been doing with Affinity. And I agree. I definitely agree. Though having the ability to work on shared PSDs across devices is one of Affinity's best features, what Adobe's promising with cloud PSDs goes even further. The new file format will sync every edit to the cloud, not just the most recent save. This will give you access to the entire history on whatever device you're opening it on, as well, as long as it has been uploaded to the Creative Cloud. Houston predicts that Adobe may eventually develop its cloud PSD format into a single consolidated file format, a system the Affinity Suite already implements. What will be more interesting is where they take things with Illustrator and InDesign. A critical part of our offering is not only having a single file format between mobile and desktop, but also exactly the same file format between Affinity Photo, Designer, and Affinity Publisher. So
Which isn't really out yet, but yeah.
What, Publisher?
Yeah, that's still beta.
Okay. And then the CEO of Savage, the company behind Procreate, which is another, oh my God, these noises. River, get out of here. James Kuda, which is a great last name, predicted that the new Photoshop app would only attract more artists to the iPad. It's great to see Adobe finally take the iPad seriously. And there's a couple other quotes in here that we don't really need to go to, but they're not really worried, and I don't think they need to be either. They're a completely different sort. If you're gonna get Affinity, it's because you don't want to pay for the outrageous pricing of Adobe.
Yeah,
that's about it.
And honestly, I about both. And there's times I'd much rather use Affinity, and it's one of those things where like they're both, and it's same. I would use Procreate too. It's one of those things where too is like, they would just be pumped that like, oh yeah, bring Photoshop, like validate this thing that we've already validated, in my opinion. This like awesome tool, bring more people over, because let's be honest, if you're already willing to shell out money for Adobe and you see like an app that seems really cool for $10 or $20, you're probably going to buy it and try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're already like being like, yeah, I'm going to throw down $500 a year. Yeah, I'll spend an extra $20 to try it out.
So I have Affinity now.
So
I have Procreate.
Just their sales, I think.
And I agree. I think because Procreate is more of like the painter. It's like more for like painting and digital art, where Affinity is more of a Photoshop program, and they both kind of play off of each other in an interesting way. And it's only gonna help, man. It's only gonna help. Now the question is, once Photoshop for the iPad comes out, how much do I actually use Affinity and Procreate, especially with Project Gemini in the place? That will remain to be seen. But they are great. They're not you're not missing really anything on Affinity or Procreate that you wouldn't really get, and it's so much cheaper. Some filters, some plugins, some of the tech stuff is way better on Photoshop, but again, those are very niche sort of use cases. Myself, I need that kind of stuff, and that's kind of why I do a lot of work on Photoshop other than Affinity. But I don't really do a lot of like digital painting and digital illustration and stuff like that.
I mean,
So I'm not really a Procreate guy either,
most of my stuff is usually vector graphics. So it's, it's Illustrator / designer. And like, yeah, designer's way fucking better for price to performance.
Yeah, I want to get that one next. I want to check that one out. Because Illustrator is so confusing. It's a confusing program.
It is compared to Photoshop. If you're like really used to working with Photoshop, it's a completely different type of workflow.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I would just say spend all day like on a Saturday just like watching like a YouTube series. You'll pick it up real fast. Because like once you get it, it's just kind of like once you learn the main ways all of the tools work, then it's just limited to what your mind's gonna let you do.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the only problem that I was having with Illustrator is like, I was like, all right, I'll make this bigger. And then all of a sudden I'm moving paths. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, it's all path based.
It's not how it works.
Right. Like everything like that's, you can scale it all up really easy if you use the right tool. But then otherwise it's all about paths and making a shape out of nothing. That's something that's drawn me more to designer is just the amount of shapes and things you can change, because the idea of Illustrator was always like, well, you can make anything out of a square and a circle, so go do it. Yeah. And while you can, sometimes it's really fucking annoying.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Have you heard of Vivaldi Browser, Jerry?
No.
I highly recommend you check it out. So it's like an optimized sort of Mozilla Opera-esque browser. They have a very strong VPN proxy privacy focus on the browser. But the coolest thing about it is the split screen sort of quick sidebar thing that they have. So essentially I have mine set up. Let me bring it up where you guys can see it. Oh, I don't think I have it on. Oh, I do. I'm going to bring it up here and show y'all who's watching what I mean here. So
it seems interesting.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's very customizable, and I really like it for this split screen option because I watch a lot of YouTube and Reddit at the same time. So I have Reddit on the side and then YouTube on the other side. But this opens it up in different sort of windows. So you can have one tab that's one set of split screen. You can have another tab that's a different split screen option. So like your Instagram on one end, the Twitter on the other end. One tab, like there's a deeper tab management to it, and that's basically why people use it, is for its tab management. But I like to use it sort of as just a
it's also like a research wet dream.
Yeah.
Like for doing, like if you have like massive amounts of research to do, having a split screen like this, or you can have your paper in the background right there while you're looking up stuff, things like that. That's pretty cool.
Well, and one thing I guess is not working is that it doesn't show up on OBS. So I don't know why. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I've been having that issue with OBS lately too, so I don't think it's just that.
Maybe it's OBS then. But
yeah, I think one of the newest updates is like completely broken it.
Well, go check out Vivaldi Browser. Just give it a go if you want to take a look at it. I'm still looking for Chrome alternatives, even though I always keep coming back to Chrome. I was using Safari for quite some time. Just recently I came back to Chrome because Chrome is so much faster than Safari. It's just so much faster, especially media-heavy websites. It's just faster. There's just no way to put it. But the privacy stuff sucks, and
Firefox.
Yeah. Chrome is faster for me than Firefox, especially on my website. My website, for some reason, loads so fast on Chrome, but takes forever on Safari and Firefox. Works pretty
I don't-
fast on Vivaldi too, though.
I don't have that many issues with it. But yeah, your website's kind of slow on it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not like super slow or anything, but it could definitely be faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see that, especially if you're working on that every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like I just want to be snappier, and I like the way that the Chrome syncs up to my Gmail accounts and stuff like that. I've been using a lot of Sheets lately because I have a few clients that we've been in the G Suite, so I've just been using Chrome. But Vivaldi, I like it when I want to watch YouTube and read Reddit and stuff like that because the tab management's way better. All right, moving on. Patreon teams up. Oh no, we skipped one. The Spectre X360 has a new angular design and 22.5 hours of battery life. So this is a new Spectre tablet. What are these called? Hybrid tablet laptop.
2-in-1.
2-in-1.
Sure.
It looks pretty
No,
cool.
no, it doesn't detach. It's just a laptop. It's just a 360 laptop.
360 convertible laptop. I guess that's what they call it. It looks nice. Screen 4K. I'm
But
interested.
it's not a 2-in-1 because it doesn't detach.
So it's just a convertible laptop.
Yeah, it's just a 2-in-1, or not a 2-in-1. God damn it! There's too many fucking laptop
It's
weird things now.
just convertible laptop.
Yeah, it's just a 360 laptop. It's just a normal laptop that goes all the way back around, so you can pick it up like a tablet.
Yeah. It comes in 13, 15-inch USB-C ports on it. It's got a weird angular design on it, but it looks pretty thin. It looks pretty light. These things are always like really light. It's got the world's longest battery, which is 22.5 hours of battery life, and it's
Yo.
sports. It's sports.
If it actually hits that number, yo,
That's what I'm saying.
yo,
While sporting a GTX 1050 Ti and Intel's new 8th gen quad core and I think hexa-core chips in it. So it's pretty interesting. It's probably gonna be a little expensive, but that's a pretty interesting offer.
yeah, I'm interested in seeing this tested then, because I mean, like looks wise, it's not
I mean, even if it hits,
It's not out of this
12
world, but it's
even
not
if
bad.
It hits 12 to 15 hours. That's pretty good for a 4K device that's running those specs. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Also, I like where that stupid little USB-C headphone or USB-C adapters added.
In the corner,
Yeah, like I don't
gets
love
it
it.
out of the way.
It gets it out of the way, but it's like I don't love it. But it's like, see what happens when you're willing to realize, oh look, I can add 2 of them and a headphone jack there. I just have to be creative. You know, you can do it.
Does it have an SD
Everyone
slot?
else, it looks like it.
Oh, I need to find out.
But
Yeah.
no, you got to sacrifice it all for battery life. No, I'm interested in seeing this reviewed then, because like it isn't like the best looking thing I've ever seen, but it's pretty sleek. But like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments did point out correctly though, if you ever drop this, you're fucked. With
Oh, yeah.
like corners like that, that's just asking to shatter.
Oh yeah. Don't drop it. I want to see one.
Yeah, hopefully they improved their keyboard because I didn't like the last keyboard.
And their trackpads are
Looping
the
back to-
worst in the industry.
Yeah, looping back to keyboards kill laptops for me.
Yeah. That trackpad will kill it too. Those trackpads are so bad.
Yeah.
All right. We got one more thing on here and then some Apple news and then one last thing. Reddit partners with Patreon to help creators build communities. I thought this was pretty cool. There's new widgets and flares coming to Reddit. So essentially you can have subreddits where your patrons will actually have a patron flare, which is actually really interesting.
Let me guess, you only see it on new Reddit that no one actually likes using.
Yeah, I use new Reddit.
Fuck you,
But it's just
dude.
because I clear my cache and it just doesn't go back, so I just
Hit
stopped
old,
switching it.
just log in and then old.
I don't mind
Dude,
new.
I
I
can't-
really don't
I
mind new Reddit.
I don't know, it just doesn't feel right.
Old Reddit reminds me too much of Slashdot and Dig.
A little bit, but it's more because I'm in enough subreddits that you really. I mean, even though some of them are tacky, like they use all of the extra CSS tools like hugely. You know what I mean? Like with all the extra flares people have, things like that. Like they've done it in cool ways that is really helpful. that just whenever you go to new Reddit, it's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind it too much. Is this I've never seen Reddit do something like this before,
Oh, it's interesting.
where they paired up with a company, in that sort of way. I've not seen it. That's why I kind of want to talk about it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, like if that actually just works as like a normal flare though, or something, like, yeah, that'd be really cool.
If you had a No Life subreddit, and then our patrons could have like a little flare, and then we can see that maybe we only answer patron questions. That'd be dope.
And then I can add a second little flare, like you paid for my haircut fund or something.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Apple's announces the iPad Pro and Mac event for October 30th. So it's coming.
My God,
It's coming, baby.
fuck your iPad. I'm now more excited for the next iPad event. And then more importantly, come on, let me see this Mac Mini and this like cheaper MacBook rumor.
Oh yeah, they're coming, baby.
Cheaper MacBook, it'll be $900.
I'm running to get this iPad. I can't wait. I want a full screen iPad so bad.
I do too, but I don't think it's gonna happen before when I want it to. So we'll see. But on top of that, there was another. Well, this came out literally within 12 hours from when we recorded our last show, of course, when we were just bitching about it not happening.
Yeah.
So now we have the full event. It'll happen next week. We'll be able to cover it. Also today, though, was more rumors coming out about the next event that's going to be an iPad mini refresh.
Yeah.
That's
iPad
not going to
mini-
be at this.
iPad mini and AirPower.
Maybe. Eventually.
Yeah, out of Ming Chi Co. So it's pretty good. But an iPad mini, I'm assuming it's what you're gonna get is like that cheaper iPad, but just maybe slimmed down. I don't see them going for a full screen version of a mini, but I could be wrong in that sense. We'll see. I am interested.
Yeah.
iPhone XR reviews are here. And it's just exactly kind of what we expected. A solid phone with a slightly worse display than the OLED panel that you get on the iPhone XS and 10 for that matter.
And slightly worse pictures, but most of the reviews I've seen have been pretty good, actually.
Yeah, for $750, if you want an iPhone, this is the one to get. If you still want Touch ID, iPhone 8 is still a great option, in my opinion. I love that phone. But, just go with the Face ID. Get this version. It looks way better. You'll have the nice colors you could choose from. You'll have a new look. People will see that you have a new iPhone.
I want to go. I still want to go see them side by side in person before I'd choose to buy one of them.
Yeah,
but
from the videos, it looks like it's kind of hard to tell, except if you're off axis a little bit.
Yeah,
it's easy
and
to tell that way.
Bigger bezel. But it's more like, okay, people I've read phone reviews for 10 years, when I trust and I know how they review stuff, they were all very positive on it, but also pointed out the ways it's not as good as the normal X screen, X or XS screen. And it's like, I want to see those differences and see if they actually matter to me and if they are $250 worthy to me.
I think they would be. If you had the extra $250, and to be honest, it's a little bit more than $250. That's the very base model. You're probably going to spring for the middle model.
I would spring for the 800 model, 128 gigs for an extra $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I personally would suggest just wait a little bit till you can afford the XS or the X Max and get because the screens on these phones are really, really good. The HDR is so good on the iPhone. It's a very underrated feature that doesn't get talked about much. And you do not get that with the LCD, which sucks. But other than that, everything else is the same. You still get
the other thing too. Well, no, never mind. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, or I could wait to see compare it to the original X and see what that drops down to for Black Friday.
Yeah, I would again.
But that's still selling for $900 right now because of.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
That's Apple, baby. You got that resale value. Stays.
Yeah, from Apple themselves, even though they now offer a cheaper, better product.
Yeah. Well, it's not OLED. So whatever that OLED screen must cost them a lot of money because they do add a fucking nice premium on it. But, yeah, if you are looking for an iPhone You got a pretty good lineup. I think you got a pretty good lineup. I still think, because Kate has the Max, I have the regular version. If you are someone who likes Max phones, man, the Max is such a nice fucking phone. It really is. I am never going to get a Plus phone again. AirPower not till 2019. We talked about that. Beautygate is a bug? Question mark? Apple addressing Beautygate. iPhone XS front
I don't
camera.
give a shit. Where's the fucking AirPower?
AirPower's not here, baby. We gotta wait another 2 years. Dude, I'm going to say it right now. We won't see AirPower until spring 2019.
No.
Late spring.
Why not?
We won't see
Like,
AirPower until they
that'd be
refresh
sick,
the MacBook.
but it's like, yeah.
And then by then we'll have a fucking new Qi charging standard or something.
Also, with that, it wasn't clear if you meant now or next week. Also, updated iMacs, which I would assume would be this next one.
Yeah,
next week.
It's the 30th, so next week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the Beautygate thing, essentially, it was an aggressive noise canceling feature, or bug, I guess is what Apple's calling it, on the camera, where it was aggressively noise canceling and smoothing detail out to the point where it just like kind of looked like it was a beauty filter going on. It wasn't that bad, but I noticed it in my selfies. So I've been using the back camera a lot more often for regular selfies and stuff. Because it's pretty heavy. It pinkens the skin, and I don't have pink skin, so it makes me look weird. But they called it a bug when it's not a bug. This is not a bug, and this is what's pissing me off about this new generation of Apple. They are not. I guess they've kind of always done this, but it's not a bug. It's not a bug. You fucked up. You added this noise canceling feature. You shipped out massive amounts of devices off of this testing regimen that you had, and you thought it looked good, and it just, people don't want this shit, man. Just the sensor's so good, just let it be the sensor. Same on the back camera. You don't really have to fudge it up. So essentially they're saying it's going to be fixed in iOS 12.1, which should be released any day now, and then we'll let you, I'm sure you'll figure out from everyone if it's a much better improvement, which I am assuming it will be, because I do have a Halid, and Halid basically mitigates they say it's smart HDR is what's causing it. Here's a full explanation from The Verge. Essentially, smart HDR was choosing the wrong base frame for HDR processing when you took a selfie. Instead of choosing a frame with a short shutter speed to freeze motion and preserve detail, it would sometimes choose a frame with a longer shutter speed. That does make sense. The front camera also does not have optical image stabilization, so it takes blurry shots at the same shutter speed as the rear. That does make sense, but to me it doesn't look like it's a shutter speed issue. It looks more, well, I guess because of the HDR, it chooses that frame that used the slow shutter. Okay, so I guess that does make sense, but to call it a bug, it seems to be a little bit disingenuous. It seems like it was programmed that way. It doesn't seem like it's a bug of just some mishap, because they're all doing it. You know, it's not like if you turn the flash on and you set it at a weird angle, that would be considered a bug. This is baked into the software. It's baked into the actual experience. So it's not a bug. And then we also lastly have Apple TV streaming service coming 2019. No rated R programs. It's all going to be family friendly programs.
And free.
And it's going to be free.
And I'm not going to watch it.
Oh, you fucking will. You're going to like it.
You can't speak to me like that. It's not an R-rated.
This makes me really mad, because I don't know if you remember, we were talking about Apple releasing a video service like YouTube. And
it said it's going to be Planet of the Apps for free. It's going to be another one of those shitty little services on Roku that there's fucking 8,000 of them. They're all free of whatever B-rated shit they could make themselves and get for free that you'll watch when you're really desperate.
Yeah. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they're going no R-rated, only family friendly.
You gotta go big like Netflix or Hulu, or like don't. Right. You're just too late at this point.
You're competing against Haunted Hill House. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're competing.
That's like on the good stuff. Like, if you're just trying to make like a free thing limited to your device, like every device has one of those now. There's so many of those at this point of like random free movies and shows and crap like that. I don't know. Unless like, I mean, I'm hopeful some of them will be good. Obviously, people will still watch fucking Oprah because people will always watch Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah's cool. I don't
But,
watch
like-
Oprah, but that's good. That's a good acquisition.
Yeah, like I mean, there's definitely people are still going to use it, but like, I might watch a couple of these and then probably forget I have it.
You see, I guess that's the thing. I'm not the type of guy that's watching any family-friendly programming ever.
Not really.
You know, if I'm ever watching anything, it's either YouTube or it's some like fucked up Breaking Bad type show on Netflix or Haunted. You know what I mean? Like, I have no interest in just wasting my day watching trash fucking Oprah. Not to say Oprah's trash. You get the point. I'm not watching Maury. You know what I mean? I'm not watching fucking Friends or Modern Family and shit like that. All right. Lastly, why is there no lifestyle tech fashion store? And when I say that, I mean a store that combines lifestyle,
I wanted to make one before.
technology, and fashion in a very nice sort of seamless way. There's no store that does that, and we are subscribed to
In a
many
nice way.
webs, and we subscribe to
There's-
stuff like Gear Patrol, which is the
There's-
perfect example of a store that could sell those items and do a great job.
There's definitely tech gamery brands out there and stuff, but nice is debatable on them basically. No, I thought about doing this like long ago in the past because there really isn't.
Like
I agree with you.
you walk into a store and it's got, you know, maybe the newest sneaker from Nike that you might want to buy, like nice Nikes or nice sort of you know, graphic tees from a certain company that's sort of not really well known, but also not like a cheap brand, like it's just like a nice fashion brand. It also sells like the Google Home Max. It also sells like you know, I don't know, just like mechanical keyboards that you wouldn't necessarily find at Best Buy. You know what I mean? Like it would
Kind of
sell.
Urban Outfitters, but for the tech nerds.
Yes, exactly.
No, I've this was literally my conundrum when I was like 22. It was me and my best friend just wanting to make that.
We should do it, dude. We should
down.
do it. Drake, stop investing in these
Yeah.
fucking Fortnite gamers. We
Or
got the
Steph,
right idea.
We'll sell your stupid Palm phone. We'll
Yeah,
make it the biggest seller.
yeah, dude. And you might notice how I did not want to talk about that fucking phone on purpose this week.
Not gonna buy one.
Are you gonna buy one?
No.
At that point, I'm just like, just get a fucking Apple Watch.
Exactly.
It's essentially what it is.
Yeah. No,
He's
really,
wearing
it is.
it around on his neck. Just
Yeah.
put it on your wrist, and there you go.
The same fucking thing. Yeah.
So dumb.
Just get an Apple Watch with LTE, and
I mean-
there you go. You just did the same thing. You can leave your phone behind, and you still have all of your functions.
But dude, Steph, I'm telling you, I think it's a great idea. When we start our new company,
I mean, it looks cool,
I'll put it on my shelf. I promise
Yeah.
you.
and I mean, I know enough hipster bitches that'll buy that shit.
Yeah. Especially if it's right next to like the fucking
Minimalist guidebook.
yeah, and like a
And-
Coach bag, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
there's been no crossover of. We live in a time where it's so integrated, and Apple is a perfect example of how a lot of people just get certain products in tech from their aesthetics, and to blend the three just makes sense. But no one has done it, and I think it's a failed opportunity to really make something really cool. You know, because I'm subscribed to so many things like Gear Patrol now, where it's like they show you really nice backpacks. They show you really nice all-day carry shit. And they also show you really nice headphones, really nice mechanical keyboards, really nice a graphics card. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
shit that's like, you know, us would buy.
No, yeah,
But
it's a good
instead-
idea. But otherwise, like if they don't do that, they'll have like, oh, here's the text section with that fucking Levi Google fiber jacket thing that you can only watch 5 times.
Yeah.
That you can go like this to get, activate your music.
And a Dyson vacuum, and then like
Yeah.
that stupid fucking robot that every tech channel had to fucking talk about. Like anyone is gonna buy that fucking stupid fucking thing.
It's just like it's fucking Bed Bath and Beyond. Like
Yeah.
that's what they all are. Just like, yeah.
All right, that's it for the show. I hope you guys enjoyed this extra. Well, it wasn't really that extra long. It's only been 1:44, so you got about 90 minutes each, 90-minute episodes. So I guess we're still on time. So we didn't really consolidate as much as we wanted to, but there she goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. I changed the icon in the middle of the show, so you can see it down below. Instagram at No Life Digital. Follow us. Make sure you hit up our website, nolife.digital. If you want to listen to any past episodes, you can check it out on the podcast on the site or on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Radio, YouTube, and any other podcatcher. I fixed it so there's more than 10 episodes shown. Now all of them are shown. And we will catch you guys next week. Bye-bye now.
Peace.